Hey there, my name's Austin Blau, and I'm the music composer for Rodent Retribution, and this is Predation. At least this is the project session where I wrote everything and did a little bit of mixing, and then I actually mixed everything in a different session, which we'll get to. But I thought this would be a good idea to go through the single, which is a single for the demo. I just thought it'd be nice to actually take one of the demo tracks and make it into a proper single to release before we even release the demo. So I thought it'd be cool to walk through this. Let's take a look. So yeah, immediately you'll see probably one that there's a lot of tracks. There's, I guess, 250 relative tracks I'm using. Some tracks are muted still within here, somewhere between 200 and 250. I ended up trying 379 different tracks and ideas that are all in here, but I muted all those and then froze the tracks when I was done. So we're just left with what I have now. Yeah, so essentially an easy one to start with would probably be guitar. It's the most apparent thing in here. So in here, these are all bounced out tracks from MIDI guitar, actually. And you'll see even in the main track, which this is the full thing. It's not too bad. This is what the guitars sound like. Yeah, I did end up actually using all three of those groups, but I tried versions without. I tried a lot of different versions with these guitars. There's a lot of different guitar tracks in here, different things that come up at different points. It's pretty much the same riff. Guitars are pretty simple. Beyond that, the bass is pretty simple as well. I used Eurobass. And then I made my own sub bass, which was really helpful. And there's certain other things I've done in here, just certain bass sections to help with some weight in certain sections, but bass is pretty simple too. Drums is extremely simple. It's just MIDI from the GGD metal kit. I have literally nothing on it right now. It's just the raw kit and it sounds great. I bounced all that out individually for each track, just the snare by itself, kick by itself. And I did the same thing for their Invasion kit too. But I ended up realizing that by the time I started mixing all of it, I like the metal kit more. I mean, it's obviously pre-mixed, just the sounds were fitting a little bit better. So I fully mixed the Invasion kit and then didn't use it. The more interesting part is when you get to things like the rhythm synths and the leads. So starting with the leads is probably the easiest. Most of these are all Serum presets and patches that started out or are completely just the patches from Noise Department, which is my friend Jeff's company. Amazing, amazing presets and patches for Serum. I've gone through every single one and tried every single one, and they're all genuinely helpful. So this whole track has tons of that on there. So even just the leads by themselves, this is what they sound like. This is that one patch. And I just added just black hole for a little bit of a nicer long reverb tail and an EQ as well. It's nothing too crazy. Same thing here. I think this is just doubling up. Just a higher octave. There's some other lead sounds. Another Noise Department. Sounds great. And then I bounced out a few pieces in here, which I think was some choirs just to fade in. Just helps with the transition. So it's nice. Same thing with the leads in this section. And that's just kind of a nice little texture layer on there, also from Noise Department. Rhythm synths, there's technically 80 tracks, but there's a lot that's not being used. So realistically, I guess 70 tracks. There's a lot in here, but once again, like the Doom experiment, there's not a lot that you hear from this. It's more just there to help with some weight on the low mids. I made that myself. That is using Arturia's SEMV2. Way too many plugins, just a ridiculous amount. And then that's also a preset from Noise Department. It's a patch from them. And I'm just doing some shorter convolution reverbs and EQs, 3 EQs for some reason. But it works. So there's a lot in here. Like even this section's fun. So that's most of the rhythm synths, and then electronic drums, some basic kicks in there. I use the kickstart sound. Yeah, so there's even a clock sound in there. There's some kick sounds, there's some hi-hats. The little fuzziness is just my computer trying to handle this and record the screen, which is really funny. And then, yeah, some impact sounds as well. There's a bunch of those all over. I probably could have automated a lot of these. And then there's a lot of different risers in here. They just help to add to the composition. It's very funny to listen to on its own. I mean, with the impacts, I think it works pretty well. Even though that sounds delayed. There's some effects in here. I added some crowd noise. I think that helps. It's pretty subtle, but it fills in some small gaps. It feels like things are just going on. Same thing with this scream sound I made a long while back. It just kind of becomes a low rumble if you use a low pass and a high pass filter. So that was nice just to add some weight to the ambience in this section. And then there's actual ambience, which that I think comes from Oblivion, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, which was made by Heaviosity and David Levy, which is also a really, really good plugin. But a lot of these, I think, yeah, these are all Oblivion. I just kind of was trying the VST out, and it worked really well for this section. So I really liked it. And that's pretty much the whole track. It's a lot of stuff. It's not as crazy as it seems, but I'm happy with how it turned out. It was really fun to make. So let's go over to the mixing and see how that went. So it sounds pretty good. So drum-wise, you can see that I had the Invasion stuff in here. I was trying some stuff out. It just wasn't sitting the way I wanted. So it's pretty basic for the drums. The snare actually still has the reverb on it. It was printed in, and I thought, why not? I'll just try to work with it. It works. The kit sounds great. I tried a bunch of different stuff with it. I used Soothe for some of the cymbals and Smash and Grab on a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of different things I was doing in here as well. You'll probably see Track Spacer everywhere on this mix. mostly because I was trying to open up space in different areas. I think I achieved it pretty well. It's kind of a dense mix, but I like how it turned out. But a lot of it has to do with track space or opening up space for different things. So I'm pretty sure this is tied to the guitar because some of the overhead frequencies were overlapping with the guitar, which doesn't normally happen, but I kind of wanted to take a little bit of that out. Same thing where the kick and the bass is connected together with track spacer. There's a lot of stuff like that going on. Same with the bass itself in here. You'll even see, actually, there's a couple tracks from other people in here. So I have some stems from some other bands, like this is from a Periphery track, and I just like the way the bass sounded. So I tried doing some EQ matching just to get it to sit well. Sometimes if I'm just sitting here for too long, I am second guessing myself and overthinking everything. So a lot of times I'll go in and do an EQ match of something just to make sure that my head's in the right place. It was nice to see that as a nice reference point. And so then I have track spacer on for the kick and for the electronic kicks as well. There's just a lot going on in there, but it worked pretty well. And then for guitars, I have track spacer here for the lead tracks. So when the leads come in, the guitars duck a little bit. And then I also automated the guitars to duck a smidge too, but it just opens up a little bit of space on the top end and some of the high mids. But bass wise, sounds good. I have the sub bass there, which is pretty minimal, and then the actual bass track itself. Sounds great. So then there's the guitars. I ended up using some of the guitar tones, and then I actually reamped the guitar tone again, because I didn't really love the tone I had originally. So I tried reamping a couple different times. I ended up using the Nameless Suite X. I used Soothe a little bit just to cut out a few things. Nothing too crazy. Some gain, some compression. Mostly just getting it to sit with everything else in the guitar folder was important. So yeah, it sounded pretty great. So those three. It's pretty cool. The rhythm synths, I literally bounced out one track because I was like, I like how it sits. I mean, I did end up automating a lot with it. If I go to the gain section, there's a bunch of different things in here where I wanted to push and pull, but it still ended up sitting pretty well. I was pretty happy with it. Leads as well, those are pretty easy. I didn't end up really having to do too much, just cutting a few things out. I distorted a couple other things too. I tried this whole other distortion track, which helped to just bring a few things out with the leads, but nothing too crazy. I kind of let them sit as they did. Electronic drums, same thing, just mitigating some things and then doing some automation in there. Nothing too crazy. The impacts, same thing. Track spacer set up with the metal kick. So I think I was having it a couple times where this would impede on the actual kick drum. So I had a track spacer essentially open up some space for the kick drum so that the kick drum can play and the impacts aren't in the way. Risers, same thing, really, really simple. Just took out a little bit of low end. The ambience is pretty much the same thing. Track spacer to open it up for some other areas. And then the effects, yeah, same kind of thing. Just kind of opening things up and making sure it's clean. And yeah, we have this, which is kind of a mess. But gain, just to pull back a little bit of what was coming into the master bus. Tube, running at 50%, which is actually pretty strong, but it works well. It's a really nice tube and tape simulator. I really, really like it for its tape simulation. Then I'm boosting a little bit of low gain and high gain. It's funny. You'll see a lot of EQ on here because I'm just second guessing myself a lot. Ozone, mainly just using to reduce anything below 100 hertz to be mono, which is also a little high, but I've been liking it being that high for how much I'm reducing the mono. Doing some EQ curves, using Soothe for EQ, using Soothe again, just some more minimal stuff going on there. I did a match EQ as well. I forget what I used, but I'm using 25% for that just to slightly mold it in the way I want to, kind of similarly to the bass where I wasn't too sure exactly what I was looking for and I was second guessing myself. So I thought it would be a good idea to do a match EQ just to see where I was at and make sure things were sitting well. And then another low mid reduction in EQ. And then I put in the God particle, took off the limiter. So it was doing everything with the God particle on, which 100% is also pretty heavy. I wouldn't normally do that, but I liked how it sounded. I just kind of was doing it by ear and I really liked it. Soothe again. I don't remember why I did that, but I did. And then it hits Pro L, which is only doing plus 3.2 dB. But yeah, I typically like to get at most 4.5 dB of gain reduction on my limiter. And that's pretty much it. And then I use levels sometimes just to check out how things feel and sound. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I was just experimenting with a lot of different things. I thought it'd be really fun to try some stuff out. And it sat pretty well at a certain point, but I just kept on trying new stuff. And that's why even this looks a bit messy with certain things muted, but I tried things out until it sat well. And I think it sounds pretty good. Thanks for watching and sticking around. It was a little long, but yeah. Thanks.